We've got Brian Kappus from CloudLink. He's going to be talking to us today about the 3 most common challenges plaguing home service businesses. You know, home service businesses like painters, electricians, plumbers, landscapers, and anybody servicing residential or commercial properties. They've got problems. We all know it, and some of the most prevalent problems when it comes to small business and how they're managing their systems and automating things. Yeah, they need some help, and so he's going to be here to help us understand how to help them, and really cool stuff in store for you today. Outstanding.
First of all, yeah, thanks to you and your team, and to Infusionsoft for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this. As Matt said, some of you may know me, may not know me, but I've been a part of Infusionsoft since 2012, either as an employee or as a partner. And if you've been to PartnerCon or ICON since 2012, you will have seen CloudLink as a proud sponsor at both of those events, and we'll be back in 2017 at ICON and PartnerCon again as a proud sponsor. So I'm excited to be doing what we do with Infusionsoft, because if it wasn't for the Infusionsoft platform, we would have a much more difficult time doing what it is that we do. So today I'm going to take you through a little journey with some characters or business personas that we talk about here at CloudLink. I've got a little story format in the beginning, and then we'll jump into some of the solutions around the pain points, and just sort of give you some key takeaways at the end, so that if you run into a business owner that's doing this, at least you're armed with the bullet points that can get the conversation going. So I want to introduce you to a guy we call Freedom. Freedom represents a bunch of different business owners that are running service-based companies. And like any other business owner, Freedom is busy trying to grow his business and scale his business, and whether that means making more money or having more time, or whatever the reasons are, he's bogged down trying to stay one step ahead of the competition. He struggles with hiring people or finding the right people, and he really struggles with systems and processes because he doesn't have it all dialed into place. Some of the competitors that Freedom runs into fall into these verticals, and this is sort of the container that we found that we are a really good fit in. As Matt said, there's plumbers and painters and landscapers, and most anybody providing the service can use different parts of our system for different things. But we found that these verticals around what we call service provider companies, carpet cleaning, maid service, window cleaning, driveway cleaning, yes, these are all people that we have spoken to about our software. We've implemented our software. And then over onto the installation repair side, garage door and gate companies, a big, big market. Trade services, HVAC, plumbing, IT, technical. These companies tend to provide the services, but they also tend to have inventory problems, which is another issue that we help these small business owners deal with. So Freedom, like other business owners, is all too familiar with the 3 most common challenges that are plaguing home service businesses. And they are time tracking, or tracking time, task, billing, and expenses. So when it comes to this particular pain point, we see business owners that have work orders, they're out getting the work, they're getting the jobs, but because they are so busy, and sometimes they're the actual one doing the service themselves, they have a difficult time billing on a timely manner. And if you've ever had a service person come out to your home and they provide the service and they go, okay, great, we'll send you a bill, and then 2 or 3 weeks go by and you finally get the bill, you're like, man, cash flow must be a tough issue with these guys because it takes them so long to bill. The reason it takes them so long to bill is they lost your paperwork or it got misfiled or they just haven't had time to get into a system to do this type of stuff. So the problem number one is the biggest, because this is where you get paid. And so we want to help these business owners overcome this very common pain point number one. Pain point number two happens to be around scheduling and dispatching of resources. The appointments, the thing that gets the business owner going to, or the company going to the customer's home or business or place of work is the scheduling of the appointment. Many of the business owners that we run into, this is a manual process for them. Most of the time, the phone is answered, the appointment is scribbled down on a piece of paper, and then entered into some type of calendaring system. And then copies are printed off, handed to somebody, a phone call is made to find the right person. And you can imagine the amount of time that this takes just to get something scheduled. More often than not, when you call into a service-based company, the first thing that they tell you when you say, yeah, can you get someone out here Tuesday, is they'll say, let me check the schedule and I'll get back to you. So now I'm sitting at home waiting for a phone call, and sometimes that phone call doesn't even come because they get too busy and they forget. So scheduling and dispatching of resources is two completely different things. Scheduling is the matter of taking the appointment and finding the right time slot that the customer needs the service done. Dispatching of resources is the second part of that, and that is identifying the proper technician that has the proper skill set to go out and perform the service that was just scheduled. So pain point number two encompasses two important parts: scheduling and dispatching of resources. And then the third most common pain point that we run into is what we call work order management. Work order management takes into consideration the job, or what it is that's supposed to be done. And so when you look at the job, what's been scheduled, what's been dispatched, and what do I have to do when I get there, a lot of times it's a mess by the time this information gets passed down, sometimes 2 or 3 hands later, down to the service technician. More often than not, when the service technician comes out to the house, he asks in the form of a statement question, I want to make sure this is what I'm supposed to be doing today. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but more often than not, the reason that they're asking is because they're not clear in the work order that they were given as to what it is that they're supposed to do. So the third pain point that we address is helping the business manage the job from beginning to end, so that anybody touching the job at any point knows exactly what it is they're supposed to be doing, and more importantly, what it is that has already been done. So as we move along with our story about Freedom, we find that Freedom needs more hands to manage all this daily stuff. He's grown to the capacity of which he can support, and really the only thing that Freedom knows to do is to try to throw people at the problem. And really what we want Freedom to do is we want him to put systems and processes in place to help manage all of these common pain points. And so as things start to fall to the ground, Freedom says, I give, it's all gotten out of hand. He's missing appointments, which is a major pain point, because when an appointment is missed, the customer's upset, and not only is the customer upset, but the poor person back at the business that answered the phone from the customer calling in saying, hey, you were supposed to be out here today, they get yelled at by the customer, and oftentimes their manager yells at the person as well, because there's somewhere the ball has been dropped. So it's a major problem that starts to affect a lot of people. And then the guys don't know what to do. There's no work order management. They have no idea what they're supposed to do and where they're supposed to be. And then lastly, not getting paid. The managing of time and labor and invoices, he's out of time. He needs more hands. So fortunately, through our great marketing efforts using Infusionsoft, Freedom has heard about a system that can solve all these pain points. And essentially what I want you to know about CloudLink is we are the operations side of a business. We are a standalone product that helps manage the operations and solve the pain points that we just went over. But we also have an integration into Infusionsoft, so we can take advantage of the sales and marketing platform and e-commerce platform that Infusionsoft brings to the table. So using CloudLink, we'll find that CloudLink provides the extra set of hands by automating and simplifying repetitive tasks. And that's a word that you'll hear me use throughout this presentation is we look to automate the repetitive tasks. And as you can see, Freedom now has plenty of hands to manage all of the things that he needs to manage on a daily basis and grow his business. So as partners of Infusionsoft, you are more often or more likely to know some of the keywords that I'm going to be using as I describe who it is that we solve for. So we solve for this, the stage 3 or 4 business that Infusionsoft is trying to solve for as well. They are providers of field services. They have back office administrators. More often than not, the field service, number of field service technicians outnumber the back office administrators, but there's still people in the back office that are telling the guys and gals where to be and when to get there. They're also managers of jobs and projects, and they live in the trade services or the professional services industries. And some of these that Matt mentioned, again, are areas that we found that there's a big hole in being able to give these businesses a solution that actually doesn't break the bank and does what it says it's supposed to do. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret right now and let you know why I am passionate about this vertical. The research that I did initially 2.5 years ago when I got involved with CloudLink was that there's approximately 9,063,532 approximately service-based businesses in the U.S. alone. These are businesses that meet the criteria that I just went over. And most of them are small businesses like we support or we want to support. And that's a huge market and a huge number. And CloudLink has maybe 2 competitors that we know of that are mostly focused in the HVAC environment. And so we have all of these other types of service-based companies that they're begging for help, and they don't even know they need help. They don't even know that there's a solution out there. And so that's why we're going out and doing what we do. So we solve for this because we realize that there are things that they can't manage or haven't been managed because a lot of the times they just don't know. And that relates in the customers receiving poor service, the business owners, they just don't have the right tools to provide any better service, so the customers get what they get. As I mentioned, managers get yelled at by the customers and the business owners. Businesses start to lose repeat customers, which is the worst thing that can ever happen. And then that affects revenues and morale because the business is starting to fall apart and going to work is stressful and nobody likes working in that environment. And again, as a reminder, approximately 9,063,532 of these businesses exist in the U.S. alone that we want to target. So another guy that we talk about is a guy named Matt. And Matt is Matt's persona is a real business customer that we had. And I want to walk you through this because it's a powerful statement in 2 things. One, a business owner that has been in business for many years doing what they do and being able to make a lot of money, but recognizing that in order to grow, they needed to change their systems and processes. So Matt owns a garage door repair company, and it's been in the family for the last 35 years, which is significant when you think about the longevity of a small business owner and running a small business. They currently had, or at the time, they had 38 full-time employees, and they operated across 3 locations in 2 different states, which is cool because we have a SaaS platform. It's in the cloud. It's accessible from anywhere, from any device. And so really, we don't care where the companies are located because our software is accessible to them. So in 2015, Matt generated around $10 million in annual revenue. And at the time, they were using QuickBooks Enterprise. And the thing that amazed me the most when I first got involved with these guys was they were using 3-piece carbon paper to write down every single order that came in. Whether it came in via the website or whether it came in via a phone call, a 3-piece carbon piece of paper would be pulled out. They would write the customer's name in. They would write down everything on the order. One of the copies would go to a back office admin who would then enter that information into QuickBooks Enterprise. Another copy would go to the scheduling person, and then another copy would go to the field service bay where they had to start figuring out who's going to do what. The licensing fee for QuickBooks was costing this company about $16,000 annually. So Matt wanted to expand his operations into more locations and states, and Matt also wanted to grow to $50 million in annual revenue over the next 2 years. And the thing about Matt was, even though he had a somewhat manual process, he did have a process, but he knew that it wasn't enough to allow him to scale and grow. But he had managed to be the #1 certified LiftMaster dealer for 25 straight years running, which is pretty impressive. So the thing about the 9,063,000 small businesses that are providing services, just like I said, the garage door industry, repair installation industry, is a huge market. Just in the U.S. alone, there are over 3,500 certified LiftMaster dealers. And so proving this white paper out the way we have is allowing us to go full steam into a vertical that it's obvious that they need help. So Matt implemented CloudLink and Infusionsoft in April of 2016, and he grew 48% in 2016. So the cool thing about it is, yes, he had a system, yes, he had a process, but he recognized that it wasn't going to allow him to scale and grow the way that he needed to. And our solution, coupled with the marketing automation and e-commerce solution in Infusionsoft, has allowed him to grow and get closer to achieving his goal. So with that, I want to give you a little bit of an idea of how our 2 systems work together. This little animation is going to run through, but it's a typical service call. And so we've attracted the business, we've sold the business, and now we're out to wow the customer with the setting and scheduling of the appointment, the dispatching of the technician, the communication around the appointment and who's coming, upselling to the customers while you're in the field, and then ultimately getting paid or transacting payment in the field. And so the thing that we utilize Infusionsoft for is the marketing and communication. And we utilize CloudLink for the management of the operation. And so in this particular scenario, we have a service guy that is going to go out to the customer's home, perform a service. But the workflows that we set up, which is the golden nugget behind our system, is that we can design workflows to trigger any type of communication that we want. And in this particular scenario, after the customer asks and requests for the service, communication starts, and ultimately the customer gets an email with the picture of the technician and who's coming and what day and so on and so forth. So you can see that Infusionsoft will send out offers, newsletters for services, et cetera, just your typical marketing. A customer or prospect will accept the offer through the website, goes back into Infusionsoft. A contact will be created and or updated. It doesn't matter. And then that information is used to schedule the appointment, to dispatch the service technician out to the customer's house while Infusionsoft communicates who's coming. On site, he can create another order or add to the order and even transact the payment in the field using Infusionsoft payments. And so really, by putting in both of these systems, you have taken a process that can be done today, but it's a manual process, and it certainly doesn't keep everybody in the loop as to what's been going on. The reason I say it can be done today is in this scenario around the garage door company, they used to take payment in the field. They would take payment in the field by writing down your credit card number on a piece of paper with all of your information and your house number, and they would throw it up on the dash of their truck, and they would drive back to the office, and at some point they would turn in that paperwork, and at some point, usually 3 or 4, maybe sometimes 5 days later, your credit card would be charged with hopefully whatever the amount of that service was. So we can eliminate all of that by utilizing our system and the two-way integration with Infusionsoft. So some key, how do we do it? Some key takeaways that I want you to think about. If this is a road that you venture down or a vertical that you want to get involved in, or you run into a business owner that starts to look like these personas that I've given you. And so one of the first key takeaways is, and maybe some of you guys have your own pains around some of this stuff too. And so the one thing that I would tell you is move the business process needs to a SaaS solution. SaaS is software as a service. Typically, that means it's cloud-based service, which is awesome. But the biggest reason is they're monthly subscriptions, so you're not shelling out thousands of dollars annually for licensing. You're paying for it monthly as you go. But you also receive, with most SaaS applications, the most up-to-date software as the new versions are released. So you get the best of both worlds, honestly, when you move to a SaaS application. For me personally, in my business, I use Microsoft Office 365, OneDrive, Infusionsoft, and CloudLink Ultimate. Office 365 powers my email, word processing, Word, etc. OneDrive is where I store everything because I can access it, my documents regardless of where I'm at from any device. And I use Infusionsoft, obviously, for the CRM, marketing automation, and e-commerce functionality. And then I use CloudLink because I, like Freedom, have the same problems, right? I use it to track time, task, billing, and expenses. I use it for scheduling and dispatching resources. So during our implementations, when we onboard a new customer, we use our own platform to tell our implementation partners who it is they need to be helping that day and what it is they need to be doing. And it's a system that we can all access, that we can jump in at any time from a project perspective and see what the heck's going on in the work order or the management of this particular customer. And so really bundling all this stuff together, we can save a lot of money by using SaaS services and cloud-based services, which really drops that money straight down to the bottom line, honestly. And then that you'll hear me talk a lot about. CloudLink represents freedom or the persona that we use, but really we want to give freedom back to the business owner, and that can mean anything to them. It can mean more time at home with the family. It can mean giving employees more time off. It can mean making more money, having more time. It is what it is that they want them to know that it is. So, all right, went through a lot of stuff, but I want to break it down one more time for simplicity's sake, so that we all understand these key components to solve these three problems. So first of all, get a system in place. And if it's not CloudLink, then look for a system that can do the following. It has to be manageable without adding people. And what I mean by that is the usability of the system has to be simple. The functionality of the system can be complex, but the usability has to be simple. The more complex the system, the better functionality you're going to get out of it. But if you make it hard to use, it's going to be hard to sell. It has to be scalable so that you don't have to switch systems as you grow your business. I know a lot of business owners over the last 35 years that have taken baby steps into software upgrades. And it's costly because it takes a lot of money to do that. It takes training of the personnel every time you move systems or platforms. So pick a system that you know today is scalable up to X over what it is that the business owner wants to achieve, so that you don't have to go back to them and you don't have to change systems later down the road. And then look for a cloud-based system so that it can be accessed from where you have an internet connection. 5, 6, 7 years ago, yeah, it was a little scary to think about having all your stuff in the cloud, and but as broadband technology has improved over the years, reliability and uptime for internet service providers has increased. It makes all the sense in the world now to have a cloud-based system, and again, with mobility becoming a huge part of what we're doing moving forward, as long as you have service and those service areas are growing, you can work. You can perform what it is that you need to do. And last, as fast as software and technology is changing, focus on software as a service. You'll get the benefits of the newest features. You'll get the benefit of the early releases, the versions, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to pause. We're pretty much wrapping up here. I've got one more slide to show you, but I want to see or know if there are any particular questions that have come up.
Yeah, this is awesome, Brian. Thank you so much for bringing this. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't realize that, you know, services like this are available, and you guys are doing amazing stuff, not in just, you know, the areas of, you know, managing time and tasks and dispatching and work orders and invoices and all of that. You guys are also doing some really cool stuff that's going to be coming out soon with in regards to integrating multiple, well, multiple I think is an understatement, like many different platforms, and producing you know, single interface reporting for all kinds of data from those platforms. So super exciting stuff. I'll let you talk a little bit more about that, but I wanted to ask you real quickly, because somebody did ask, the calculator that you're using, which I think can be incredibly powerful for everyone when talking with prospects and potential customers, even existing clients, to show them, you know, the return that they'll get when automating certain processes and improving, you know, how they're doing things. That's jscalc.io, is that right?
Yeah, it was a free Java. So I just randomly Googled and came across this site, but it was a Java tool that you write or input your own code or formulas in the terms of A plus B equals C. You define what A, B, and C are, and then whatever names you give them, you write out the code or equations in the background for it to function and do the math. And then it gives you a JavaScript that you can drop into the website that you can style any way that you want to. There's a couple of links there, but I haven't made the automation savings calculator public from the website yet. It's there. If you go to the URL cloudlinkerp.com/automation-savings-calculator, you'll be taken to the site where the calculator actually exists. But it's a free tool, and I think it's absolutely awesome. To just touch on one more link here on this slide, a lot of the stuff that I talked about, I wrote an ebook a year ago as a marketing initiative to talk about these 3 common pain points. You can download it at that bit.ly link there. And if nothing else, you can have it as a resource for yourself if you decide to go into the vertical and to start attacking these service-based companies. And obviously, I want my company to be a resource for you as well. We are growing through partners. It's my desire to grow and scale using partners, and we have several partners that do the implementations for our customers, and I'm looking to grow our partner community as well. And so I would love to help you if this is something that you see as a arsenal that you can add into your quiver. We're here to help. As Matt touched on, we are about to unveil one of the coolest things that I think is going to be the game changer for our industry. The industry that we play in briefly is called ERP. It's employee resource planning. It's usually found at the enterprise level, but it's these big systems that take all this data and allow you to look at things different ways so that you can understand who's overworked, who's doing what, who's, just what resources are being expended and at what time. And in order to do that, you need a very powerful reporting tool. And we are soon to be launching, hopefully, well, not hopefully, we'll get it done by the end of this month, the platform that allows a business owner to create from any data set, any data point, any data source, reports based on what it is that they want to see. So with our reporting tool, we'll be able to aggregate data from CloudLink, Infusionsoft, Google Analytics, QuickBooks, you name it. If there's a connector for it, we can grab the data and put all that into reporting and visualized graphing. So, and just real quick, if anybody's wondering, I showed that we could save that company $758 a month. Our platform starts at $129 for our light version, and our ultimate product starts at $279. That's monthly, and can go up to $899, but that's a huge system with a bunch of users. So again, I'm dead set on providing a solution that business owners can afford, because I know that they can't afford the enterprise pricing that's out there on solutions that exist for companies that are bigger than them. So I saw Matt copy the links into the chat. If you want to grab those, that'd be awesome. And I really just want to thank everybody again for attending or listening in the future, and thank you to Matt and Infusionsoft for allowing me to share something that I'm absolutely passionate about doing.
This is awesome, Brian. Thank you so much. I love what you're doing. This is incredible solution that you guys have put together here, and serving the millions and millions, as you communicated there, of home service and commercial service-based businesses. There's a ton of opportunity out there for you guys. Obviously, some of the biggest pain points that these kinds of businesses have, having a solution like CloudLink, I think, is fantastic. And not to sound too much like a commercial for CloudLink here, but Brian is passionate about helping small businesses, and this tool came out of a need to solve real painful problems for these particular types of businesses. So great stuff, man, great stuff. And if people have specific questions about, I've got a couple questions here, but I think you'll be able to better, talk to this, answer this particular question in a conversation one-on-one. If people have specific questions, they can just email you. You got your email address there, bkappus@cloudlinkerp.com, right?
That's correct. Yep. Excellent.
Okay. Yeah, I want to encourage you guys to reach out to Brian and Warren, who's his partner there, and have a conversation about what you're experiencing, maybe some opportunities that you have, and how they can help you navigate that. Like Brian said, whether it's CloudLink or something else, these guys are experts at solving problems for these types of businesses. So be sure you connect with them, and definitely go get the ebook so you can have that there with you as well. And again, thank you so much, Brian. Really appreciate you coming in and sharing this with us.
Yep, awesome. Thank you very much, Matt. Thanks, everybody.